Good morning. What is up, peeps? Coach Kev back from his porch. Been back from vacation for about a week now. The beard is growing. I'm a gray beard now, but I go back to work Wednesday, so it'll all have to be shaven off. And why can't firemen have beards? Real quick, two reasons. One is because our SCBA or our face piece might not make a seal, and even though there's positive pressure that comes out of it to push any smoke that might come in out, it's still dangerous. I know people go back and forth with that. But the more important thing is that studies have shown that carcinogens stick to your beard, and that's a real thing. And we have our habits, like I do, and we have what we do at work, and it's just we're exposed to it constantly. Even in the trucks, we're finding out there's PFAS on our gear that over the years that might have gotten us sick. But I think if you ask any fireman at the end of their lives if they would change anything, they're going to say no. Most of them are. They're going to say no. The camaraderie, the helping people, things like that, serving the community, right? So I think we'll all go back and say, yeah, uh, maybe it shaved some years off, but at the end of the day, what we did mattered, hopefully. Uh, so moving on to the true crime genre, if you will, my Dusty Rhodes impression, if you will. Uh, Delphi, we have some hearings coming up this week that are supposed to kind of clear the path for trial. What's going to happen there? The defense, excuse me, got their motion approved. That's their mini opening. I'm very interested to hear what they have to say there. Are they going to try to use a third party defense? Are they going to try to drop that there? Because I don't think they're going to get it in court. Again, go back and watch the defense diaries. Go back and watch your prosecutor's podcast. And I know they kind of differ on that, but that third party law, especially in Indiana, I don't know about other states, is very specific. I thought you could just come in and say that guy did it, that guy did it, that guy did it, and I was wrong. So the onus thing I don't think is going to get in if you read the law. There's no basis for it. And I know I've talked to other people and even privately in emails and stuff about Brad Holder. And I don't believe the girls left. I believe they were stayed there. I do believe the time frame of the 3:30, 4 o'clock. Haven't seen anything official, so that's all presumption at this point. But I haven't seen anything that led me to believe that they've taken the girls away. If they knew early on the girls were taken away, that would have been in one of the first, four Franks motions. I know that they're putting things out now that says, hey, maybe this happened. The pings went all around. I'm not going to come here and tell you that I understand phone pings at all. From when I read about it, things happen. It hits off different towers, so it's not necessarily pinging around the town, but it's hitting off different towers when the phone powers off, different things like that. Very interesting stuff, but it would take years to study that and understand it. So let their experts do that, see what their experts have to say. Does anyone think that there's still going to be a plea deal? I know some people do. I don't know. I haven't followed too many cases, but I'm looking at the parallels in Delphi. I'm looking at the parallels in Karen Reed. Uh, on the Murder Sheet podcast, there was a reporter, Jason Blair, that was talking, and what he mentioned about the Karen Reed trial, which I didn't follow that much, but is it enough to let the public muck everything up and possibly taint a jury pool? And if you're a defense attorney, that's not illegal. You can do that for your client. Are we going to see more of this? And is the Delphi case going to change the way that cases are tried in court? And gag orders and things. You've heard a couple things. You have a guy from Indiana who's an attorney who swears up and down they can't gag the family. You have other attorneys that say, yeah, they absolutely can. So it's very interesting. The initial order that was put out about protecting information in the case is very specific. Nobody could read that. Nobody could see that unless they're attorneys in the case, they're the defendant, or the prosecution. Pretty much no one else can see that. Possibly the jury will see some of that. Uh, does that order matter or does it not matter? Is it just like a paper thing that's out there? Because go back and read it. And I'll share it here in this video so you guys can read it. Again, I ain't no lawyer or an English teacher, as you could hear by the way I just spoke. But I find that very interesting. And I still think that there's some kind of parallel investigation going on. Uh, whether it's disseminating of the photos, the leakage, and I think that Attorney Baldwin might face some repercussions after this. I don't think they're going to do it now. I don't think he's going to be disbarred or anything like that. Uh, And this is his way that he practices law, and he's a really good attorney. You might like him or not like him. There's a lot of attorneys we don't like. Jose Baez, we don't like him as a person. He did this, but he did a job and he got his client off. And I will respect the jury's verdict because that is our system. And I might think if Richard Allen's acquitted, well, they let an innocent guy walk. Or some people might think, hey, they convicted an innocent guy if Allen does get convicted of this. Uh, Two big questions that I have for the coming trial. Are we ever going to hear an alibi for Richard Allen? Because they've said quite a bit. For Frank's motions, Odin's sacrifices, girls' bodies being taken, all this stuff. They could have just said, hey, Richard Allen was here at this time. He couldn't have done it. The other thing is, will he testify? I would say absolutely not. And there's a couple reasons. One is his voice in open court. It's hard for those jurors that sit there, and I was only on a jury once, and it was about a hit and run accident where some guy tried to get a bunch of money from an old couple, and it was their fault for wrecking into them, but the things that he claimed afterwards, and they had doctors on there and it was horseshit, and everyone in the jury saw through it. He wanted like 10 grand, and I think we ended up giving him $250 to pay his deductible, which was fair. He tried to take advantage of an older couple, in my opinion, or the attorneys did, so the jury was able to set that straight. But it's impossible for them to sit here and listen to Richard Allen talk and not compare his voice to that audio of the bridge. And listen, I know people say, oh, that's planted video. Just show me anything. Show me a shred of evidence where you believe that's a planted video. I'm not great at looking at things really anymore, even with a goddamn magnifying glass. You should see me trying to read the codes on the back of baseball cards to see if they're short print. So I'm not the guy for that, but no one has showed me that video is fake, that video is planted. I know there's a lot of people that talk about it, but haven't seen any of it. So I'm interested to see that. Let me know what you think. Would you put Richard Allen on a stand if you were his attorneys? The answer for me would be no. Because if his voice is anything like that, we've only heard a couple things. And one of the big things that makes me think his voice sounds like that, and I think it was Sleuth who got the phone number because they left it in the goddamn filing, the guy's phone number, and you had his voicemail message. You have that video where he's joking about cutting a cable in Tennessee, whatever they were on vacation. But it's hard for me to do. But I can't, it's hard for me not to understand that you can't take that voice and even the couple things that he said that we have of him saying, or even in interviews with the police, and you can't match that up to that. Maybe they have and we don't know about it. I don't know. But I wouldn't put him on a stand. But I would think you would have to come up with an alibi at some point. At some point, you have to have an alibi. OJ had an alibi. It was horseshit, right? Brian Koberger has an alibi. Stargaze and other people have said, we've been doing this and we've been doing that. But there's no alibi. So as strong as a case for the defense, the people from the defense think they have, when I asked them, well, why no alibi, haven't been able to be answered. He put himself there, and I know people say the timeline this and the timeline that. To me, one of the strongest things in the case is the timeline, because it's substantiated by two groups of independent witnesses or witness. That's Betsy Blair and that's the girls. They put him there at that time. His video of the video of the Hoover Harvest store has him going in that direction at that time. And again, the defense, with their leaked work product, called it Richard Allen's car. The police call it a car similar to Richard Allen's. The defense just lists Allen's car. So was that a mistake? Was that just something that they put there for marking or for, to keep track of things? I don't know. But I want to know what you have to say and what you think. And I hope nothing happens. I talked to Frank yesterday, Frank Meister, my buddy, and I told him I'm going to send you a referee shirt because there's going to be a lot of people that have a lot of problems here. And that includes attorneys going at each other and everything else. And I hope whoever goes to that case, and I hope a lot of people go and cover it. I hope people that are pro-prosecution cover it. I hope people that are pro-defense cover it. So we could kind of, get through the middle and say, okay, this is what was said. This is what happened. And I hope nothing happens there because it's to be a black eye on all of us. And if anyone thinking, hey, maybe this is the get back, this is where I take my shot at so-and-so because we've had beef over the years, those police are going to be deep, and they're going to expect something to happen, especially after the last hearings and all the just the scuttlebutt around this case. So if you're going to go there, go do your thing for your channel, for your subscribers. And if you see someone you don't like, don't even talk to them. Don't say hi. Put your head down, walk past, and let it be. because if things happen out there, it gives everyone on YouTube that covers true crime kind of a bad name, and we don't need that anymore. So I'm hoping to work out with Galen's schedule to have her on. She works a lot of hours, has a different shift, uh, so we're still working on that. But I also want to do, bring some people on here after these hearings, maybe next week, the end of next week, and have a little bit of a debate. I've talked to some people in chat, in email, uh, and they follow certain channels that I don't watch. But we have a good conversation, and I really appreciate that conversation with those folks behind the scenes. And there's always common ground, even with me and the people on YouTube that we haven't gotten along more than anyone else. There's commonalities between us, and if you can look at those commonalities instead of what takes you apart, then you could go in there and saying, okay, we're 60% on the same page, but the other 40, it's over there. We're never going to get that, to 100, but that's okay. And look at Mike Pence fly on my head again here. These flies go crazy this time of morning and right before dusk. I don't know if anyone's a scientist that could explain that to me. I just took a shower, so it ain't because I smell or anything like that. But I just wonder if we could get to that point in this case. But what do you think? Do you think Richard Allen's going to take the stand, one? And do you think the defense is ever going to unveil an alibi? And a lot of people were saying, hey, we're for the Constitution. We want to make sure he gets a fair trial. I'm all for that. That's fantastic. That's great. Uh, and I don't want to slight those people for doing that, but are you working other cases? Are you doing other things for the First Amendment, or is it just Delphi? Do you plan on moving on to other cases and saying this person's rights have been violated and things like that? And there's a lot of people that happens to. There's a lot of fucked up police and fucked up judges and fucked up attorneys. But by and large, the percentage is they're not fucked up. You could look at a video and you could find the first thing that you Google and you put corruption in America or this or that, and you're going to see, okay, here's this or that. How many arrests do you think are made a day in this country? Thousands, hundreds of thousands. How many of those arrests turn out to be bad? It seems like it's 0 to 5% is the number that I keep seeing. So, pro police, you can call me what you want. I'm just looking at the stats, right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. But we'll see what happens to Delphi. Very interesting to see this week how those hearings go. I think it sucks that it's not going to be on TV. Big time in favor of that. But if I was Judge Gall and everything that's happened in his case has happened with people clearly attempting to interfere with the justice system, not just come on here and commentate and say this is what I think or tip things in, that's all good. But for people that, are trading things for information and stuff like that, I think that's the parallel investigation. I really do. And I have no inside dope on that. But I think that's the parallel investigation that's going on. I know there is one. There's been other people that have produced fake documents and talked about other people. And those chickens are all going to come home to roost. I guarantee it. And you're going to see what people try to do. So come out, make your argument, make your case, use your data, use your facts. And don't try to inject yourself into the case itself. Because at the end of the day, I think that the defense teams might see what happened here, see what happened in a Karen Reed or in a Koberger case, and try to cause chaos and try to taint a jury pool. But at the end of the day, anything we say on YouTube really doesn't matter. Unless you do something breaking the law and crossing the line, and then, you have to do what you have to do at that point. But let's see what happens this coming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think are the dates, and what happens from there, and we'll be back at it. And again, after all this settles down next weekend, I'm hoping to have, like I said, get with Galen to let her talk to you. If you haven't seen her yet, she's fantastic, and she'll give you kind of new energy for the Flora case to push on. And I'd also like to have like a panel, kind of like a moderate with a couple different people. What's your thoughts on this? You'd be able to ask questions. The chat would be able to ask questions, and it would be like, here, you got 2 minutes or whatever to make your point on this case or on this point, and go back and forth. And hopefully, whoever those people are at the end of that debate, leave that debate with respect for each other. Hey, I disagree with everything you said. I think when it comes to the Delphi case, you're a complete idiot. However, I like you as a person. And maybe the next case we can get together and agree on, or maybe we won't. But maybe we'll go on with that mutual respect for each other. And, you know, hopefully it keeps us out of the mud. But, you know, sometimes the mud's calls your name and it's hard to keep away from it. And God, am I a fucking victim of that? But I'll continue. I'm gonna let you go, get out of here. Hope everyone has a good Sunday, has a good week coming. We have beautiful weather here. It's going to be warming up again today in the 90s. No complaints from me. The winter's around the corner. Football season's close. It's about the time of year where the Pirates give us a thrill and then start tanking and then trade for nobody before the trade deadline. But I'll leave my problems with my Pittsburgh sports teams out of this as much as I can. And I will tell you, guys have a great week. And I'll be talking to you soon. I might even do a little show today in the afternoon. I'm seeing what my schedule is, kind of getting back to the series killer stuff, and how their minds work and how we could adapt that into learning about people in our lives and being able to see signs and things like that, good or bad. They don't have to be serial killers. Maybe you're playing cards and it'll help you read someone a little better. Or if you're a manager at work and you got to interview someone or whatever the case may be, and it'll help you. But that's my bread and butter. That's really what brought me here. And you know, the other cases just kind of came up and got all over me, especially Flora. So we'll continue on with that. But let me know what you think about the coming days, the questions I asked. Will Alan speak at trial? Will they ever offer an alibi? And how do you think it'll go from there? And do you think we'll have a trial in October? Do you think there'll be a plea? There'll be more slowdowns? Whatever you think, what your prediction is. And let me know in the chat and the comments here. So I'm going to leave you to it. Happy Sunday. We're going to say tentacles. I'm going to drink my dog person mug of coffee here. And we're going to get out of here. And I'll leave you to it. Have a good Sunday. Coach Kev out.